Next, more than $20 million spent to turn an historic Albany building into a beautiful hotel, but you can't stay there unless you're one of the 7 judges on the Court of Appeals. Greg Floyd reveals how your tax dollars are being spent next. The Bush tax cut extension sounds like a done deal, so where do our lawmakers stand? Well, our fact finders get you answers.
Plus, a fiery start to the Devon Calicut murder trial. Find out what the defense attorney said to make the judge clear the room.
And this native son comes home for the biggest sporting event that Glens Falls has seen in years. Tonight, Jimmer Fredette returns to his alma mater and gets ready for the game of his life. Good evening. I'm Dori Marlin.
And I'm Greg Floyd. Tonight's top story, it will soon be Albany's newest, perhaps plushest hotel, but you can't stay there. 7 bedrooms being built for 7 judges. It's costing millions, and as is so often the case, you paid for it.
It's Albany's old family court building at the corner of Pine and Lodge, and all this rehab work is being done to provide New York's appeals court judges a place to stay while they're in town. It's being paid for with state money, your money, but most lawmakers don't even know about it. Did you know that 2 blocks away, they're rehabbing an old Albany building to the tune of $20 million to serve as basically a hotel for the appeals court judges?
No, I was not aware of that.
I was not aware of that. I can't say that I was aware of it.
7 bedrooms are being built here, 1 for each of the 7 judges on the Court of Appeals. The building will also house the Law Reporting Bureau, which publishes books with court decisions. The state purchased Centennial Hall for $3 million and is spending another $20 million to renovate it. Total price tag, $23 million.
You got to be kidding me. We're laying off people. People are losing their jobs. They're not going to be able to make mortgage payments, car payments. They have family structures that are going to be hurt by this, and we're having a government-owned hotel. We've got hotels already in Albany. It's a wonderful city. We got great hotels.
In a year of enormous fiscal problems for the state of New York, it is a stunning amount of money and surprising. How does that sound to you?
It's outrageous. Why are they building a place for judges to stay while they're in Albany? It's outrageous. That's why they do have hotels in Albany, don't they?
The out-of-town judges have been staying in local hotels. The Crown Plaza, just a couple of doors down the street.
I think you have to look in the long term. This is capital spending. How many years are you going to get use out of it? Spread it over that number of years. How much money would you be spending on per diem if they were here in the Crown Plaza? And how much efficiency in the courts are you going to get when people aren't on the road traveling? When you've got those answers, that's the time to ask the question whether it makes sense.
I asked and got the answer from the Office of Court Administration. The judges get the standard state reimbursement rate for lodging, $125 a night. They spend 60 nights in Albany. That's $7,500 a year per judge. Right now, just 5 of the 7 live out of town and take the per diem. That makes for a total of $37,500 a year spent by the state on lodging. The state is currently paying about $240,000 to lease space for the Law Reporting Bureau. If you do the math and figure that perhaps inflation and operating costs cancel each other out, the state will break even on this $23 million building in 82 years.
Now, I asked for someone from the court to go on camera, but they declined. A spokesman told me the Centennial Hall residence is being built to provide better security. I asked about any specific threats against the judges and was told there is no specific reason to believe the judges are in danger. The spokesman also said this will make the judges more efficient. Again, I asked if that means they are not efficient enough now and was told that is not the case. By the way, this expenditure was in the state budget, which means each and every state legislator had the opportunity to see it and vote on it.
Well, it's time right now to take a look outside where the temperatures are still pretty low and the winds are still whipping out there. Steve?
Yeah, no real change coming up either, Dori, coming up tomorrow. Maybe some intervals of sunshine, otherwise lots of clouds, more wind, and more flurries and snow showers, especially in lake effect areas. 20 degrees in the capital region at 8 o'clock, 25 degrees at noon. Looking for high temperatures only in the upper 20s, but factoring in 25, 30 mile per hour wind gusts, just like today, it's going to feel more like the teens, Dori, throughout tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Steve. Well, she was best known as the wife of a famous politician who infamously betrayed her and their family. Tonight, Elizabeth Edwards is being remembered as a devoted mother and a fighter who battled poverty and fought for health care reform as fiercely as she fought the cancer that today claimed her life. Joel Brown has the story.
Elizabeth Edwards died Tuesday morning at her home in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, surrounded by her 3 children, friends, and her estranged husband, John. A statement released by her family reads, "Today we have lost the comfort of Elizabeth's presence, but she remains the heart of this family." Edwards' family said Monday she had weeks to live. She posted a message on her Facebook page that said, "The days of our lives for all of us are numbered. The days I do have are made all the more meaningful and precious." The post continued, "It isn't possible to put into words the love and gratitude I feel to everyone who has and continues to support and inspire me every day. To you, I simply say, you know, with love, Elizabeth." President Obama said he and the First Lady are deeply saddened by the passing of Edwards. He said she'd revealed a kind of fortitude and grace that will long remain a source of inspiration. Vice President Biden and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton also released statements. Biden said Edwards fought a brave battle. Clinton said she made her mark on America and will not be forgotten.
I'm getting chemotherapy now.
Edwards looked well at one of her final public appearances, the Stand Up to Cancer fundraiser in September.
Cancer doesn't care that you have young children who need their mother.
It was breast cancer that refused to stop its deadly spread. Elizabeth Edwards was 61 years old. In Washington, Joel Brown, CBS 6 News.
In less than an hour, New York City OTB will shut its doors for good, and more than 1,000 city area employees will lose their jobs, caught in the middle of a political struggle in New York State Senate. State Senate Democrats tonight were unable to get the votes they needed to pass a reorganization plan for the state-owned gambling operation, which would have provided a bailout and would have kept New York City OTB out of bankruptcy. Now, why should you care? Well, NYRA, which runs the state racecourse, or the Saratoga racecourse, and has had its own share of money woes, is New York City OTB's biggest creditor, to the tune of $30 million. And state officials say there could be a ripple effect on the racing season at Saratoga.
You might see a difference in purse money. You might see not as good fields and not as many horses running, not as good horses running, because people follow the money. And you have states where, they're very eager, like Monmouth was, to take our money. They weren't so successful last year. This might help make them more successful.
Today, by this vote, this body, by rejecting this bill, does not lay these people off, but they fire them. And by doing that, they take an entire industry and throw it into the toilet bowl.
We got to be flexible, and if people aren't flexible, the state's going down the tubes. That's simple.
Senator Roy McDonald was one of the few Republicans to vote in favor of the bill, and he is calling on his fellow lawmakers to stay in Albany to hammer out a deal. The Assembly has already passed a bill that had Governor David Paterson's approval. The Republican plan being floated would expand the bill to help the other half-dozen regional OTBs on Long Island and upstate, including one here in the Capital Region.
President Obama strikes a deal with lawmakers on extending the Bush-era tax cuts, but it is not without resistance, and that resistance is coming from some of his fellow Democrats. The tax deal the president has reached with Republicans extends the tax cuts for 2 years for all Americans. It extends unemployment benefits for 13 months, and it lowers payroll taxes for a year. Well, Democrats who are against the plan say that they wanted to see the cuts go to low-income and middle-class families and not to wealthy Americans.
You've undoubtedly heard the Democrats are not happy, as you heard, with the deal reached between the president and the Republicans. We wanted to know where our lawmakers stand on that deal, and not surprisingly, their opinions pretty much come down on party lines. Our fact finders discovered that Senator Chuck Schumer offered up his own compromise, which would have extended tax breaks for Americans making up to $1 million. A spokesperson for Kirsten Gillibrand told us the senator has, quote, some skepticism. Congressman Paul Tonko told us he'll continue to fight for a plan that he thinks works best for the middle class. A spokesperson for outgoing Congressman Scott Murphy said Murphy is, quote, still looking into it. And Congressman-elect Chris Gibson, the lone Republican, was also the lone supporter of the current plan.
December 7th, 1941. It was the day that President Roosevelt said would live in infamy. It is also the date of the surprise Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, the event that led to the United States involvement in World War II. Today, 7 local Pearl Harbor survivors were honored at a ceremony at the Joseph E. Zaloga American Legion Post on Everett Road in Albany. We spoke to one of those survivors this morning who told us what that day was like.
Everything happened so fast that you just react, that's all. And just do what you're supposed to do, and that's what everybody did, and that's why we survived. Our ship lasted, you know. We had a lot of planes coming at us, and we chased them all away, so we did good.
Well, more than 2,000 Americans were killed in that surprise attack, but like he said, they did good.
The greatest generation, right there.
Yeah, you got it. Well, keep it here. We have the greatest meteorologist around, Steve LaPointe. He's coming up.
With your forecast, stick around for that.
Your CBS 6 Instant Doppler forecast with Chief Meteorologist Steve LaPointe.
And again, I'm not looking for much change in our weather coming up tomorrow. More clouds, more wind, more chill, more flurries, more scattered snow showers. 20 degrees at 8 o'clock. In the capital region, it's a passing flurry, but like we saw today and yesterday, there will be some spots tomorrow morning getting heavier snow showers. You know, one of those cases where roads are fine, you drive into a squall and you get hit with a whiteout. That's kind of the deal that we'll be dealing with tomorrow. Temperatures no better than the mid to high 20s. The reason why things haven't changed is because this storm system is still stuck here across southeastern Canada. Can't move out because of that block that's over Greenland. We call it the Greenland block, and it does happen fairly frequently this time of the year. So this thing's stuck, sitting and spinning, weakening, but still sending down plenty of moisture, funneling in the cold air and keeping that wind up, which is crossing Lake Ontario. And so that's why we've seen so much lake effect. And in fact, the new band has really flared up and has pushed all the way into the mid-Hudson Valley now. That snow band producing some locally heavy snow across northern Schoharie, western and southern Albany County. This batch right in here, and that snow now, in fact, is into Berkshire County. It's lighter on the eastern end, and it looks like this will be the zone overnight tonight to see most of the snow. There'll be some north to south fluctuation with it, but it's pretty much going to sit in this basic area. 3, 4, maybe 5 inches of additional snowfall, especially at elevation through noon Wednesday in this region here. Lighter flurries and snow showers on either side of it. Again, because the wind remains fairly steady state, there's not going to be a lot of change in the position of this snow band, so that's where some of the slick travel will be. Temperatures haven't changed too much from this evening, according to our WeatherNet 6 weather watchers. It's cold. 23 at Alford, mid-20s, Center Brunswick up to Saratoga Springs. Queensbury now at 21, Indian Lake at 13. Glen at 24. 23 at Arkville with Oneonta in the mid-20s. We'll see the numbers going down a few more degrees, but with a lot of cloud cover and, of course, the persistent breeze doesn't allow temperatures to drop as much as they otherwise might. In fact, the 26 at Albany feeling more like 14 as a result of that sustained west-northwest wind at 14 miles an hour. So again tonight, look for the scattered squalls, heaviest band running just to the south and west of Albany, affecting portions of the southern Berkshires, mid-Hudson Valley, back through Schoharie and Otsego counties. It's teens to near 20 with a 10 to 20-mile-per-hour wind, keeping the wind chills in the teens. Tomorrow, clouds may thin a little bit in the Hudson Valley, so I'm cautiously optimistic we'll see a little bit more in the way of sun than we did today, mainly in the Hudson Valley. Everybody else stays mostly cloudy with scattered flurries and snow showers. Mid to upper 20s, except around Kingston, 32 there. And the wind unrelenting, 15, 25, gusts to 30, keeping the wind chills generally in the teens tomorrow. Now, Thursday's temperatures will be lower, but by the afternoon, the lake effect should go away briefly. And the wind will be down, so it's not going to feel any colder. 30 on Friday. There will be some patches of light snow and snow showers as warm front moves in. That will moderate our temperatures Saturday. That's a good-looking day at 37. 37, good looking. Sunday night, Monday, different story though. Moisture-rich storm comes in. All precipitation types remaining on the table. I'm thinking this will be a wintry mix and then ending perhaps as snow, pure snow, for a time coming up on Monday.
Amazing.
Some slick travel this weekend. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
I was
but
going
that's a possibility.
Amazing how the standards change, though, with the temperatures. Like you said, that 37 all of a sudden is looking awfully
37
nice.
with not a heck of a lot of wind is really going to feel like a walk in the park.
Yeah, and the old wintry mix after that.
The old wintry mix.
Standby.
Yeah, it's a pretty good-sized storm, too, and any little subtle shift in storm track is going to change what kind of precipitation falls. Nothing's etched in stone at this point, so it's a watcher.
You're the man to do the tracking.
Indeed.
Yes, he is. Thanks, Dave.
Yep. Well, still to come, we are gearing up, for Jimmerpalooza.
Love it. Also, emotions running high as the Richard Bailey murder trial finally gets underway. We'll have that and more coming up next.
Brought to you by Sears, home of Craftsman Snow Throwers, America's #1 snow thrower brand. Compared to Toro, more features for your money, guaranteed. Buy one at Sears today.
Devon Calicut is on trial, not the Albany Police Department. That coming from the judge today in Albany County Court in the Richard Bailey murder trial after cutting the defendant's attorney off during her opening statement and then asking the jury to leave the room. It all started when Cheryl Coleman referenced Albany police being under intense scrutiny to make an arrest in the Bailey case, and the chief prosecutor objected.
I've never in 25 years of doing this have been interrupted and had the jury set up, basically, aborting and negating my opening in the case when there wasn't a single thing that I said that was wrong.
Devon Calicut is accused of killing UAlbany student Richard Bailey in October of 2008. Testimony continues tomorrow morning at 9:30.
Well, a 12-year-old Albany boy is in some pretty big trouble, accused of stealing 2 cars in 1 week. First, police got a call about an out-of-control minivan near Central Avenue. When officers stopped that van, they say the boy was at the wheel. He told them he stole the vehicle from his school, Albany's LaSalle School. Then this past Sunday, police say that very same boy led them on a chase all around Albany. Police caught up with him when he jumped out of the car and ran.
WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange is behind bars without bail in Britain, but it has nothing to do with his release of classified diplomatic cables. Assange is actually jailed in connection with a sex crime investigation, but Assange says that he is being held because he is providing people with information about what their governments are doing. WikiLeaks says the development will not change its operations.
Christmas came early tonight for 24 local nonprofits as Saratoga Gaming and Raceway handed out $100,000 to help them continue their good works. Our very own Liz Bishop served as the MC at the 6th annual Make a Difference event at Vapor Nightclub. Tonight, groups as diverse as Shelters of Saratoga, Ronald McDonald House, Equinox, and the Adopt a Soldier organizations were honored by the Racino and Horsemen for their contributions to the community.
Economy being so tough, we're seeing more donations than ever, which is heartfelt, but the donations are smaller. So we're very thankful to the community that keeps supporting us. This is a huge gift for the Ronald McDonald House.
They're caught in a major squeeze, a lot of these not-for-profits. Their funding sources are drying up, and the people that that need assistance is growing daily.
In the 6 years that Saratoga Gaming and Raceway has held the Make a Difference event, they have given out more than $1.3 million to local charities. Good way to get in the Christmas spirit right there.
Yeah, truly making a difference. Great groups we named as well.
Yep, gotta love it. All right, still to come tonight, high school basketball highlights covering 5 different conferences all around Section 2.
Also ahead here, we're going to hear what Jimmer Fredette's BYU teammates have to say about all the fuss that's being made for Glens Falls' favorite son. Stay with us here. Doug is in next with sports.
CBS 6 Sports with Doug Sherman.
Welcome back, everybody. Tonight marked the first busy Tuesday of the young high school basketball season, and we will begin in the Suburban Council with Shenendehowa and Shaker playing their opening game. Head coach Jeff Holmes directed Jeff Hoffman, do that spin move in the lane you're good at. Hoffman's headed to East Carolina on a baseball scholarship. Shenendehowa had an answer in the person of senior guard Jose Reyes, who knocks down the triple. But back at the other end, Hoffman finds Casey Hall inside for 2. That's easy pickings for the 6'6" junior. But Reyes scored a game-high 24 points. The Plainsmen get by the Bison on opening night in Clifton Park. The HBL and Ballston Spa also playing their season opener. 3-sport star Keaton Flint was still playing quarterback just 3 weeks ago. He's making a smooth transition. With under 2 minutes to play, Flint gives Burnt Hills a 3-point lead. But seconds later, Stengline Austin the answer. He scored 16, tied at 57. 10 seconds to play, still tied. Scotty's basketball. The inbounds pass deflected towards Flint. He'll lay it in for the lead and a game-high 20 points. Still 4 seconds to go. A chance for Ballston Spa to win it at the buzzer, but just off the mark. The Spartans steal a win in their season opener.
Coach called a good time out there before to kind of show us what they're doing, how they're setting up, and Jay made a good job bumping that guy over for me to get across the screen, and there was a couple hands on the ball, and I just saw it, and I just broke and made a layup, I guess.
Around the Suburban tonight, Mohonasen edged Guilderland, while Bethlehem defeated Averill Park. Niskayuna got by Saratoga Springs, and Colony knocked off Columbia. In the Big Ten Conference, reigning state champion CBA hosting Bishop McGinn. Albert Johnson to Griff's teammate Antoine Johnson for the layup, but McGinn was up against it. CBA opened up a 16-point lead after 3. Max Weaver scored